Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
Begin the English language transmission from Pyongyang, the capital of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
She was the mixed colors. Song of General Kim Il-sung. criminal prisoner Lee covers son of janitor Kim Seung-il.
Respected Kim Jong-un, First Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea, First Chairman of the National Defense Commission of the DPRK, and Supreme Commander of the Korean People's Army, visited the January 18th General Mission Factory and put forward specific tasks and ways for modernization of the factory. He was accompanied by Hwang Byung-seo and other senior officials of the party and the army. Respected Kim Jong-un looked round the newly built Revolution Museum. He said the interior of the museum had been well equipped and historical materials and relics were well displayed. As is always stressed, he said, the key to increased production lies in directing ceaseless great efforts to the ideological education to give maximum play to the spiritual strength of the workers. Kim Jong-un went on, the January 18th General Machine Factory is the eldest son factory, a factory like the heart in the development of the machine building industry of the country, and the party attaches great importance to the factory. Kim Jong-un said he had come to the factory that day in order to turn it into a model factory, pivotal factory, and car factory, representing the machine factories of the country. Saying it is the intention of the party to modernize the January 18th General Machine Factory on the highest level, he gave important instructions for the purpose. He points out, in order to produce more mechanical products of high efficiency needed in different fields of the national economy and make successes in the development of new products, the factory should introduce CNC technology and robotize the production processes. It set the targets to be attained by the factory in the near future, and kindly found that he would solve all the problems arising in the modernization of the factory, including supply of latest equipment needed for it. He stressed the need to fundamentally facelift the environment of the factory. With the view and stand of building a new factory in an empty place, he said the production district and living district should be partitioned clearly. and the cultural and public service establishment, as well as all the production buildings, should be radically updated to show clear contrast between yesterday and today. He suggested building the dormitory, nursery, and kindergarten on the highest standard to say nothing of public service establishments like the Kangsong Health Complex. Scientific and technological dissemination room, he noted, should be equipped for the scientists, technicians, and workers to acquire profound scientific and technical knowledge so that flames of mass technical innovation movement can flare up in the factory. It is especially important to design and build well in order to build the January 18th General Machine Factory as a creation of eternal value to be flourished in the distant future too. He promised to send an experienced designing group from the capital and the powerful building force of the People's Army. Respected Kim Jong-un expressed a firm belief that the workers of the factory would renovate their factory to meet the demands of the era of knowledge-based economy and in the fashion of a highly civilized socialist country, and effect a great leap forward in the production of modern machines and development of new products, and thus wonderfully play the role of vanguard and shock brigade in implementing the economic policy of the party. Respected Kim Jong-un, First Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea, First Chairman of the National Defense Commission of the DPRK, and Supreme Commander of the Korean People's Army, inspected Unit 447 of the Air and Anti-Aircraft Force of the Korean People's Army, honored with the title of Ultimate 7th Regiment. Key officers of the party and army. After receiving salute, respected Supreme Commander Kim Jong-un shook hands with each of the commanding officers and said he had come to meet the airmen of the unit, including the flesh bomb combatants who successfully performed difficult flight combat tests with a rigorous resolve to defend the country at the cost of their lives, and whenever he comes to the airport manned with air defenders, he feels at home. He highly praised the unit that produced the 14 flesh bomb combatants as the home of the heroism, self-sacrificing spirit, and self-lasting spirit of the brave rubber hawks of Sundan Korea. Watching the monument, the on-site guidance of the great generalismos Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, Kim Jong-un impressively recalled the proud crest of the unit. He said the unit, honored with many times field guidance of the great leaders, has the tradition of struggle in producing many meritorious fighters, including heroes of the Republic, and that the undying achievements of the great leaders in the building of the Air Force of the country will shine forever in the history of the Air Force. Looking around the plane seen by the great generalismos, he praised that the plane is taken care of well and fully ready for sortie to stand always in the van of the flight training. He talked in at the flight training room and closely watched the training through ground plane control training apparatuses. He said to shed less blood in battle, they should train a lot in peacetime, as the airmen should train harder to carry out combat tests satisfactorily, including takeoff and landing under the worst circumstances. He instructed that the airmen, while flying a lot, should make the training as part of their life and conventionalize it, so that the hot wind of training of Mount Vector boils like volcano in the unit. He stressed the need to make better plane control training apparatuses for carrying out the training on the ground in the situation of real battle, and gave a reference book he had brought. Supreme Commander Kim Jong-un looked round different places, including the bedrooms of the airmen, and paid deep attention to their life. He points out that it is a firm resolve of the party to build up the unit perfectly to be an example and standard of the Air Force, and facelift all places as well as combat duty zone and living zone, in line with the demand of the Songun era, and took kind measures for it. Said Kim Jong-un appreciates an art performance given by airmen and wives of flesh bomb combatants of the unit. He said, in the simple and truthful performance, he warmly read the loyalty of the airmen of the unit and their spouses to the party, congratulated them on their success in performance, and had a picture taken with them. Respected Supreme Commander Kim Jong-un expressed the belief that the airmen of the unit would put spurs to the preparations for action with high vigilance and more firmly defend the blue sky of the country.
Respected Kim Jong-un sent messages to the presidents of the Republic of the Union of Myanmar, the Syrian Arab Republic, the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, the Republic of Kazakhstan, and the Republic of Uganda in reply to their messages of greetings sent on the occasion of the Day of the Sun, the birth anniversary of the great Generalissimo Kim Il-sung. In the reply messages, he expressed deep thanks to them for their sincere congratulations and best wishes on the occasion of the Day of the Sun. He also expressed a belief that the friendly and cooperative relations between the DPRK and those countries would be further strengthened and developed. Hifikepunye Pohamba, President of the Republic of Namibia, recently sent a message of greetings to respected Kim Jong-un. The message said the re-election of respected Kim Jong-un as the first chairman of the National Defense Commission of the DPRK is an expression of trust and confidence of the government of the DPRK in him. It wished him good health and hoped that he would properly lead the Korean people to great economic prosperity and social progress. The Czech Committee for Remembering President Kim Il-sung was formed in Prague on the 7th. The chairman of the Mountebank, the Czech-Korean Friendship Association, was elected chairman of the committee. The committee decided to hold different political and cultural events between June the 1st and July the 10th on the occasion of the 20th anniversary of the demise of the great leader President Kim Il-sung. The Beninese long-lived General Kim Il-sung gets together on the Beninese National Committee for the Study of the Church Ideas issued a joint statement on May the 8th on the occasion of the 20th anniversary of the demise of the great leader President Kim Il-sung. The statement praised President Kim Il-sung as a distinguished leader, peerless patriot, and great revolutionary who honored the 20th century as the century of the victory in the cause of anti-imperialist independence and the socialist cause, with its outstanding idea and leadership and noble virtues, and stressed the need to organize various events on the occasion of the 20th anniversary of his demise. We will send full support and solidarity to the Korean people in their just cause to build a prosperous nation and unify the country under the wise leadership of respected Master Kim Jong-un, as instructed by the great President Kim Il-sung and leader Kim Jong-il, the statement added. The participants in the 9th National Meeting of Artists arrived in Pyongyang, the capital of revolution, on the 14th. They were greeted by Kim Jong-un and officials concerned. DPRK Premier Park Bong-ju made a field survey of the stock breeding base in the Sepo area under construction. Looking round the artificial grassland, breeding house, dwelling houses, school and others, he encouraged the builders who are performing feats in the stock breeding base project. A consultative meeting of officials of the cabinet, ministries, and national institutions was held on the spot. The DPRK will host the 19th World Taekwondo Championship in September, CJ104 or 2015. A decision that the DPRK will host the championship was adopted at a general meeting of the International Taekwondo Federation held in Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria, in July 2013. An organizing committee has been formed and is active for the successful holding of the championship in Pyongyang, the capital of the DPRK. Rice transplanting began in many cooperative farms of Korea. The agricultural workers across the country are transplanting rice seedlings in good season to increase potash grain production to the maximum on the basis of scientific analysis of the biological characteristics of varieties of paddy rice and weather and climate conditions of their region, as demanded by the Tsuchi farming methods. Secretary General Nangolo Ngumba, who is leading the visiting delegation of the Southwest Africa People's Organization of Namibia, was interviewed by the Korean Central News Agency on Wednesday before flying back. He said, During my stay, I witnessed the deep attention paid by the party and government of Korea to the people's living, education of the coming generations, and improvement of children's health. President Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-un built a genuine people's country in Korea and turned it into a powerful state with the energetic activity. The course of the preceding leaders is now admirably carried forward and developed by His Excellency respected Marshal Kim Jong-un. The Secretary General sincerely hoped that Korea would be reunified at an early date and the friendly and cooperative relations between the two parties and peoples of the two countries continue to be strengthened. The South Korean Council of Organization for the Preservation of Records held a press conference in Seoul on May the 12th and demanded the authorities make clear the truth behind the sinking of the ferry Seoul, according to the South Korean KBS. According to the CBS, more than 10 media, teachers and human rights organizations, including the National Media Trade Union and the Teachers Union, held a press conference on the 12th and demanded the authorities put an end to the encroachment upon the freedom of expression concerning the sinking of the Seoul. On the same day, the South Korean newspaper Gyeongnam Daily News and internet newspaper Voice of People editorially denounced the Park Geun-hye government for ignoring the voices of the bereaved families and people, demanding a probe into the truth behind the ferry disaster and punishment of the main criminal. Earlier on the 10th, the internet newspaper Voice of People logged an editorial criticizing the Park Geun-hye government for finding the cause of stagnation in the sinking of the Seoul. According to the internet newspaper of Koreans in Korean residents in the United States, further intensified protest actions against the Park Geun-hye government concerning the sinking of the ferry Seoul. More than 300 Korean women and members of civic movement organizations gathered before the South Korean Consulate General in Los Angeles and mourned the victims of the disaster on the 10th. They staged a demonstration and held a meeting condemning the Park Geun-hye government. On the other hand, Koreans in the United States contributed to the newspaper New York Times on the 11th announcement under the title Clarified Truth, condemning the Park Geun-hye group for misleading the public with false reports on the disaster of the Seoul. The crucial reports of the National Defense Commission of the DPRK, we will finally settle accounts with the vicious Park Geun-hye group of hooligans, was reported on the 13th and the 14th by the Russian Istar-Das, the Chinese Xinhua News Agency, Global Times, and internet homepage People's Network, the Iranian Press Television and Radio, the Indian PTI News Agency, the News Television newspaper Times of India, the US AP, VOA, ABC newspaper Washington Post, and the Japanese Kyodo News, Digi Press, Tokyo Shimbun, UNKZ Shimbun, and NHK. And that's the end of the news read by Cha Sung-man and Lee Xiangxi. This is Voice of Korea.
The daily Rodong Sinmun of the DPRK carried a commentary on Thursday under the title, Dirt of History Should Be Completely Swept Away. The commentary said, Kim Min-seok, a spokesman for the South Korean Ministry of National Defense, committed an unpardonable crime of speaking ill of the DPRK at a so-called regular press conference, describing it as a country which is not a country without human rights and freedoms, and a country which has to be removed as early as possible. The recent unprecedented outbursts made by the South Korean military gangster like gibberish of a lunatic are the most vicious challenge to our dignified system, extra large provocation of bringing the inter-Korean relations to a total confrontation, and unusual case which cannot be overlooked. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea is a country of genuine morality and obligation, and a single-mindedly united, powerful country in which all the service personnel and people support and follow their leader. So the South Korean parties maliciously slander the DPRK, making such false remarks as lack of human rights and degradation of history. Such an act can be done only by the South Korean traitors, obsessed with inveterate refusal and hostility toward the fellow countrymen, and with a wicked plot to bring the inter-Korean relations to complete catastrophe. The powerful revolutionary army of Mountbatten and people of the DPRK are keeping their high alertness with a citadel of aggression and confrontation in the sight-seeing telescope for annihilation of the enemy, and eagerly waiting only for an order to sweep away the Park Geun-hye group of traitors to the last man. Park Geun-hye and her clan will clearly know how dearly they should pay for their senses out first. That was the commentary under the title, "Dirt of History Should Be Completely Swept Away," carried in the daily Rodongsun of the DPRK on Thursday. This is Voice of Korea.
Yunjo Female Solo, My Hopeful Country. Your piano concerto, Do Prosper My Motherland. to show the female colors Xian to the motherland.
Please enjoy kayaking solo. Spring has come to the Army Post.
40th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Korea and Nepal. May the 15th is the day when diplomatic relations were established between Korea and Nepal. Ambassadorial diplomatic relations between the two countries were established on May the 15th, Church 63 or 1974, which made it possible for Korea and Nepal to follow different types of friendship. On the occasion of the day, the Korean people extend warm greetings to Nepalese people. In the past, the two countries exchanged high-level delegations, including government delegations and delegations of foreign ministries, and strengthened friendship cooperation. The Korean leader President Kim Il-sung met many Nepalese delegations that visited Korea, and he sent unsparing aid to the government and people of Nepal. The Nepalese government actively supports the Korean people in their struggle for independence and peaceful reunification of the country, and expresses the stand that the nuclear issue between the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and the United States would be settled in the interests of the Korean people. Now in Nepal, active measures are taken to achieve great successes in the political, economic, military, and many other fields. After the establishment of republicanism, Nepal makes active efforts to draw up a democratic constitution and achieve political stability and economic development, and enforces a policy of national independence to defend the sovereignty of the country. The Korean people are sincerely rejoiced over the achievements made by the Nepalese people and hope that the government and people of Nepal make a greater success in their struggle for political stability, peace, and prosperity of the country. The ties of friendship between Korea and Nepal will be further developed in the future too, as in the past, amid deep concern and expectation of the governments and peoples of the two countries. So far, you've been listening to the account under the title, On the Occasion of the 40th Anniversary of Diplomatic Relations between Korea and Nepal. This is Voice of Korea.
Dear listeners, with this we conclude the English language service of Voice of Korea from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Voice of Korea presents an English language service for Southeast Asia between 5 and 6 hours UTC on 13,650 kHz and 15,105 kHz, and between 10 and 11 hours UTC on 11,735 kHz and 13,650 kHz. For Middle East and Northern Africa between 16 and 17 hours UTC on 9,890 kHz and 11,645 kHz, and between 19 and 20 hours UTC on 9,875 kHz and 11,635 kHz. For Southern Africa between 19 and 20 hours UTC on 7,210 kHz and 11,910 kHz, and for Central and South Americas between 4 and 5 hours UTC on 11,735 kHz, 13,760 kHz, and 15,180 kHz, and between 10 and 11 hours UTC on 11,710 kHz and 15,180 kHz. Goodbye, this is Pyongyang.